Hello everyone, my name is Birendra. I am the head of Sure Shot Mains and Mentoring Program in Vajiram Ravi. Today in this session, I'll be talking about how to approach the course-based question. And I have been going through the ranker's copy and the copies of Sure Shot senior batches. I have identified a few mistakes which many of you are committing while framing the answer in ethics paper. So it is not possible to discuss each and every type of question, because usually there are four kind of questions in the ethics paper. One is based on the ethical concept, one is applied ethics, third is course based question, and fourth is case studies, right? But today in this session I will make sure if you are able to follow or if you are able to practice the approach which I will be discussing, you will be perfect in the course based question, because I'll be talking about the step by step process which you all are supposed to follow. But before we proceed, basically ask yourself why UPSC asked the question or why UPSC asked the course based question, right? So there are two purposes, right? The first purpose is to basically identify what are the values you need to learn. What are the values you need to learn from the quote, right? That is the first part, the first purpose. And the second purpose is to what extent you are able to apply these values. Apply these values, right? But the problem in your answers are too theoretical. You are just focusing on explaining the values itself, right? So the utility of the values in your answers are missing. That is the biggest problem. And it is not only about the quotation based question, but it is almost in even the theoretical question also, where UPSC asks the conceptual questions. So please remember one thing, the main purpose of ethics paper, GS paper 4, is to focus on the values and the application of the values or the utility of the values, be it your personal life, be it your professional life, be it at institution level, at environmental level, at international ethics level, be it anything. To what extent you are able to apply these values is also extremely important. But this is what is missing in your answer. So in this session, we will deal with this step-by-step process. And trust me, from last 2 days, we are doing a brainstorming, right, with the senior batch, Sure Shot senior batch and the rankers batch. And within two or three sessions, many students have learned this approach. They are sending me the PDF, right? So if you are not a part of this program, I would request you to do this brainstorming in the same way I'm going to explain at your home, and then you will see how drastically your answer writing will change, right? So in the next 2 months or in next 50 or 55 days, I'll be coming up with these kind of videos where I'll try to make sure that from every session you learn something, right? My aim is in next 50 days, if I'm able to teach you just 50 new things, then those 50 new things will help you to increase your score by 50 marks. That is what my target is. And for the same reason, I'm conducting the brainstorming session with the mains student on a daily basis on Zoom, right? So this is a part of that. So after watching this entire session, you will understand the importance of brainstorming, right? So let's begin with this. So the first part, what are the two approach which we usually follow for the course based question, right? The first is classical application. Classical application based approach, right? I will explain. I have picked up a previous year's question and I will show you how to apply all these approaches, right? Then second is problem solution based. So these are the two broad approaches we are supposed to follow. What are these two broad approaches and how to basically apply it? That is what we need to understand. But before we are going to follow these two approaches, there are few steps you need to keep it in mind. And those steps are not that difficult. It is very easy, but you need to learn how to follow that. There are step-by-step process involved, right? For example, the very first step, right? Before even I jump on this step, as soon as you read the quotes, right? I'm just trying to give you the idea of introduction, right? As soon as you read the question or the quotes, right? Always ask yourself, what are the various or what is the core value? What is the core value in the quotes? Right? This will be your introduction. Right? Talking about the core values, the core theme of the introduction of this statement is going to be your introduction. And if you really want to make your introduction very effective, try to link these core value with the contemporary issue or contemporary aspects, like we do in the GS paper 2. So if you can make the relevance of these value or this quote contextual, this is the best possible way one can write the introduction, right? So this is the idea of introduction. But as far as the core demand of the question is concerned, the structure of your answer is concerned, there are 3 steps you need to follow, right? The first part is the identification of values. Identification of values, right? What are the different values you can identify from the quotes? We will see that. Second step is basically applying or finding utility of these values, right? And finding utility of these values in the real life I'm talking about, be it at administration level, be at institution level, be at environmental level, be at societal level, be it at international level, right? So basically, I am talking about the template here, right? So I have also compiled the list of values. I have also compiled the list of at least 20 templates I'm talking about, right? And the third part is the ethical theories, right? Why ethical theories? Theories means like deontological theory, theory of virtue, theory of behaviorism, social contract theory, right? Ethical care theory. So I'm talking about these theories. What is the purpose of these theories? These theories will basically going to make your argument more effective, right? It is a justification for your stand, justification for your argument, right? Because how would someone know that your action is ethical? Because it is ethical, because it follows the ethical theories, which are broadly accepted universally, right? So these are the 3 steps you need to basically always think before even you start with the answer writing. So it will take some time, right? You need to do a brainstorming on this. But trust me, I have taken 2 brainstorming sessions so far with the Rankers program and Sure Shot Senior Batch, and many students were able to reflect this approach in their answers. So I'm so glad to see that you many of us are learning, right? So before now we proceed how to apply the steps in the PYQ, I will show you the PDF, right? The PDF, this PDF I will be sharing with the Sure Shot students as well as the Rankers program. So few PDF I have already shared. So if you are a part of this program, you already know. For example, okay, so in this PDF, basically, there are 3 categories, right? The first one is the ethical theories. Second, the various templates. How many templates are you aware of? Like 3: actor-based, stakeholder, And sectoral templates, in this I will show you how many templates are there. At least 15 to 20 templates are there for every type of questions you can use. And the beauty of this approach is, for one course or for one kind of question, you can apply the different templates in your answer. That will also I'm going to highlight, right? So, and the third is obviously the values. Okay, so see, I will start from the scratch. I think that was the last page. Okay, so there are three things, right? Ethical theories, values, and the templates, right? So like these 7-8 pages, I think is more than enough to tackle any question. Trust me, any question. So in this, I will show you how I have applied, or I have applied these template values to frame the answer of course-based question. In the next video which I'll be preparing, I will show you how to tackle the concept-based questions or applied questions or even the case studies, right? So for example, these are the various theories I have included, and I have also given what is the core idea of these theories and what are the broad application where we can use this theory, right? So if you are talking about the Bentham theory of utilitarianism, then you can use it for the justification of strict laws. You can quote this theory when the question or when the point is based on the policy decision making, right? Or when you are doing a cost benefit analysis. Similarly, deontological, right? We all know why the deontological or Kantian theory is applied when we are talking about the rules and laws, even under the pressure, whistleblowing despite personal loss, upholding constitutional morality, right? So when we are talking about the constitutional values, the constitutional morality, then we can back it up through the ethical theory of Kant, deontological theory. So this is the list of all the theories. There are approximately 30 theories I have collected. Egoism is there, moral relativism is there, situational ethics, behaviorism, moral disengagement, social learning theory, right? Then discourse ethics, then justice as fairness, capability approach, Ubuntu ethics we follow in the I think South Africa, African nation follow this. Then environmental ethics, feminist ethics, pragmatic ethics, Confucian ethics, nihilism, hedonism, right? So these ethical theories are nothing but it will going to make your points more genuine, more effective, right? And where you can use it, the application I have also mentioned. Now, the second part in this is the values. Now, why I have created a separate category of values? Because the problem in the answer, what I have noticed personally is, if the question is based on the social dimension, right? Many of you are using the values related to professional ethics. You are using the values related to the personal ethics. This is wrong. So you should know what all values are associated with the personal ethics, professional ethics, environmental ethics, economic ethics, international ethics, war ethics, social ethics, right? So this is the reason. For example, like professional ethics, social ethics, leadership ethics, then cultural ethics, religious, governance, civic, democratic ethics, economic, corporate ethics, and these are some values. When we are talking about the governance, we talk about transparency, accountability, rule of law, integrity in the institution, whistleblower, due process, participatory governance, citizen charter, RTI. I have seen in the answer, when the question is on, or the quotes is on the government or institutional ethics, people are talking about honesty, truthfulness. I'm not saying you will not be able to link, but these values are more important. This will help you to fetch the good marks, right? So don't try to link any values with any dimension. Don't do this. So this is the reason why I have categorized it. Now, the last part is basically the template I'm talking about. So stakeholder-based approach, sectoral, institutional, actor-based, code of conduct, constitutional morality-based template, then ethical dimension lens, value chain, right? Value chain-based template. Where to apply that, I have also written that. For example, the question is related to the planning, the scheme, the policy, or if you want to write down the points related to the policy, the scheme, you can use the value chain lens. You can talk about the planning, implementation, evaluation, suggestion, right? Similarly, if there is a debate on law and ethics lens, which template are you going to use? You can use the 4 templates. For example, what law demands, what ethics demand, where they overlap or conflict, balance, resolution. Under these 4 subheadings, your answer will be completed, right? So this is how I have compiled the list of various templates you can use directly in your answer. But you need to practice it. You need to brainstorm it, right? I hope this is clear. Now let's see how we can apply all this concept while framing the answer. So for that reason, I have picked up a previous year's question, right? I hope these 3 steps are clear to you. So the step 1 is the identification of values, then utility of these values, and then the ethical theories, right? Now, look at the question. So the question is, this was asked by the UPSC in 2010, I guess. 2020, right? Condemn none. If you can stretch out a helping hand, do so. If not, fold your hands, bless your brothers, and let them go their own way. Now, what is the core value in this question, in this quotes? The core value is the compassion, the help, right? Without being judgmental, right? That is the first statement talks about. You can stretch out helping hands. So it talks about the compassion, right? It talks about help without being judgmental. Last line, what do you get from the last line? Bless your brothers and let them go, right? If you cannot help them, then at least you should show the value of brotherhood, the value of fraternity, right? So these are some broad values you can use to frame the introduction, right? Now, as far as the step number 1, what did I ask? Identify the values from the quotes, right? So in this quotes, we can think about the empathy, compassion, tolerance, non-judgmental attitude, respect for autonomy, selflessness. So this is the first step, identification of the values, right? Now, just remember, once we have identified the values, my theoretical part is done. My theoretical part, as far as the course is concerned, is done. But the problem is your part is not done, right? Means many of you just filling up the pages and explaining the theory. But what is the ideal approach? What was the second step? Utility. Utility of these values. How to identify the utilities? Various templates. Various templates, right? Usually हम लोग क्या करते हैं कि we know the stakeholder approach, right? So in all the points, whatever the utilities I'm going to write down, I will use only one template, that is the stakeholder approach. Or either I can apply it at actor based approach, right? Or I can actors template, or you can say sector based template I can use, right? But what I'm saying, why are you not trying to use multiple templates within the same answer? For example, I will show you. For example, empathy and compassion. For empathy and compassion, I can apply the stakeholder lens. I can apply at individual level, at civil servant level, at institution level. Tolerance, I can apply it at society level. I can apply at government level. I can apply at policy level, right? In education, governance. Similarly, non-judgment attitude, I can apply the actor-based approach. How should public official, leaders, citizens should behave, right? Respect for autonomy, situational-based lens. Where does this apply? Situational-based. For example, for welfare delivery, law enforcement, right? So now you see how diversified points I'm going to write under this quotes or to address the demand of this quote. And this is what will make your answer very, very effective. Otherwise, most of the answer you will find for this quotes are monotonous. They will be only talking about the various values. But utility is also very, very important component which you need to highlight. I hope this part is clear. Now, second, what was the second template? The second template is basically problem solution based, right? The problem solution based. Now, what is the problem solution based, right? So, you need to understand this part, right? After reading the quotes, you are highlighting the values, or you are able to identify the values, right? Now, if these values are ignored, and obviously they are being ignored, right? These values are being ignored in the contemporary or in the modern era. That is the reason why UPSC expect the civil servant to understand the crux of the quotes, or to understand how we can apply the learning from the quotes in the modern era. But not everyone is able to think, or not everyone is able to learn from the quotes, right? And that is the reason there are so much of problem in the society, at governance level, at institution level, at cultural level, at international level, right? So basically, I will first talk about the problem itself in my answer. And to write down the problem, again I will use the template. So the difference between the first and second approach is, in the second approach, I am starting with the problem itself. I am starting with the problem. If we are not able to learn, or if we are not going to address the values hidden in the quote, then what are the various problems the society is facing, right? So this is the idea. Once I am able to identify the problem, then I will give the solution, right? And I will link the ethical theories with this. Ethical theories means these ethical theories will justify the solution. These ethical theories will justify the solution or the stand I am taking. For example, let me show you. See, at judgmental level, what are the issue? Creates blame culture in governance, leads to social disharmony and stereotyping, citizens lose trust, lack of compassion, hardship for the vulnerable if no one lends help, rise of apathy and alienation of society, poor service delivery, right? Disrespect for autonomy, excess interference in personal choices, suppression of diversity, social conflict due to intolerance, right? So, if you just look at these problems, right? Can we categorize these problems under the broad templates? We are talking about the problem at society level. We are talking about the problem at individual level. We are talking about the problem at institutions level, at legal level, right? So, then we are going to talk about the various solutions, right? For example, the solution for this problem is sensitivity training for public officials, avoid moral policing, right? This is a step I am suggesting to counter this issue. And this suggestion is nothing but based on the ethical theory of, or the virtue ethics, right? Similarly, if we are going to talk about the lack of compassion, what we can do about it? We can basically, we can make sure there is a responsive grievance redressal mechanism. And this step is based on what? The ethics of care, right? So, if we are not able to, if we are not identifying these values, these ethical theories, how do you think we are going to frame the good answer? And that is the reason why your answers are so generic, right? So I hope this part is clear, and it is my request from all of you. Now, this is not the time to focus more on the content. Trust me, my friend, it is not the time, right? Because in the examination hall, what will matter? That is what you need to understand. There will be a lot of pressure, everyone knows, right? So whatever the content you are preparing in next 10, 20, 30, 40 days, you might not be able to recall it. But what will remains with you in the examination hall is your skill. And the time is to work on your skill. And how would you develop your skill? There is only one way, and that is active brainstorming. Active brainstorming and active recalling through or during answer writing. So, in short Rankers program, we are taking care of these aspects. But if you are not a part of any program in Vajiram and Ravi, I would request you to please devote the time for these two activities. Brainstorming. हम लोग खाली 1 घंटे brainstorming करते हैं and still it is very effective. See, my friend, I cannot guarantee your selection, but I can guarantee you one thing. What I have decided in next 50 days, in next 55 days, I have given challenge to myself that I will teach 50 new things on a daily basis. And I'm sure if you are going to learn those 50 new things, you will be able to increase at least 50 marks in GS paper, right? So I will try to prepare these kind of videos every week, right? So that the students who are not a part of this short rankers or senior program, even they should have some opportunity to learn new things, right? So I hope this session was really helpful, and you can put the comment if you want me to prepare any particular discussion video on any particular strategy or anything like that. I would be more than happy to share my views on that. Okay, so see you in the next session. Thank you.